The Whispering Shadows. It was a cold and windy evening when Sarah arrived at the old mansion. Her car had broken down miles away from town, and the mansion, though dilapidated, was the only shelter in sight. Reluctantly, she pulled her jacket tighter and walked toward the creaking front door. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the dim light from the stormy sky filtered weakly through broken windows. The house smelled of mildew and forgotten time. Sarah called out, but there was no answer. Feeling both unease and exhaustion, she decided to stay for the night. After all, the mansion looked abandoned, and she didn't have any other choice. She explored the dark halls, her footsteps echoing on the old wooden floors. As she passed a large mirror hanging on the wall, she noticed something strange. A shadow, dark and undefined, appeared behind her reflection. She froze, staring at the mirror. The shadow was not hers. It swayed gently, as if it was trying to get her attention. Sarah turned quickly, her heart racing, but there was nothing behind her. Just the empty, decaying hallway. Brushing it off as a trick of the light, she made her way to the grand staircase. The house seemed to groan with each step she took. She had just reached the top when a faint whisper echoed through the house. Sarah froze. The voice was low and breathy, like someone speaking from far away. "Leave, before it's too late." Her blood ran cold. She thought she was alone. The house was empty. But the whisper came again, louder this time, as if it was directly behind her. "Leave, before it finds you." Turning around in panic, Sarah saw nothing. The house felt suffocating now, as though the walls were closing in on her. She tried to convince herself it was just her imagination, but deep down, she knew something wasn't right. She rushed down the hallway, desperate to find a way out. As she passed a room with a cracked door, the door creaked open on its own, and she caught sight of something in the corner. Shadows danced across the walls, forming shapes too sinister to ignore. The whispering returned, now a cacophony of voices, overlapping each other. They were all saying the same thing, "Come closer. We've been waiting for you." Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind her, and the whispers grew deafening. Her heart pounded as she tried to force the door open, but it wouldn't budge. Her hands trembled as she looked around the room, and that's when she saw them, dark figures, lurking in the corners, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent. They were slowly moving toward her, their shadows growing longer, engulfing the room. Each step they took, the temperature dropped, and Sarah could see her breath in the icy air. She screamed, but no sound escaped her lips. The figures were getting closer, and the whispers turned into laughter. Just as one of the figures reached out to her, the door swung open, and a blinding light flooded the room. She stumbled backward, her heart racing, and before she could understand what was happening, the light pulled her out of the room. She woke up in her car, parked safely on the side of the road. The storm had passed, and the mansion was nowhere to be seen. But in her mind, she could still hear the whispers, echoing in the distance, as if the shadows were still waiting for the next soul to wander too close.